So I think I owe an apology to, I think, three people that I may have confused or accidentally put a remark that wasn't meant for them to them and whatnot. To them, I truly, truly, and humbly apologize uh, for my overreaction or for my fuck up. There was a lot of things said, and I'm an emotional individual, and I admit I might have fucked up. And if I did fuck up, I'm man enough to admit to it and apologize and ask for forgiveness and whatnot. Now, with that said, there was a couple of other individuals that had to comment on my looks and whatnot, and tried to put me down. You can't put somebody that's already been to rock bottom and back, that's lived through hell. You can't put me down. I am self-confident in myself and the stuff I survived and went through. And yes, regardless of the situation, some of it was my issue, my stupidity, and I'm trying to atone and resolve that. Now, I also owe an apology to my other people that were inquiring about if what happened to my pets. I apologize on that behalf because I personally keep these short because I think that people, a lot of these things are leading up and people are always editing and making whatever. I'm not. I don't do that. So I keep it short, to the point, no bullshit, no whatever. So I personally thought that, and this is my mistake and my bad, that if people saw that, they'd probably go back and inquire and see what I was talking about. You know what I mean? So my bad. Yes, all my pets have been with me. That video was shot back in, I think, 2 years ago. There you go. Okay. There's the one cat that was taken. Hey, hey. Say hello. I don't know how these fucking things work. There you go. Hmm? I hope you've seen the other cat. Now, that was shot 2 years ago. They were both 19, 18 at the time. As you can see, tweaker. And, of course, my princess. Yes, we got the munchies coming. Okay? That was, I'll apologize because that, what you saw and what most of the comments are, was the return of my pets. Due to the fact that, I wish I could smoke. Actually, I am. Okay, the situation, I'll give you a quick rundown to those that just, whatever. Back in August 18th, 2018, the Edmonton police stormed down the street to the park I was with my dog, pulled guns out on me, chased my dog from down the street all the way to the back of my yard with guns drawn and those stupid dog catchers, the bylaw officers. At the time, it was the Humane Society because it was supposedly an animal abuse charge by some pissed off addicts down the way that I wouldn't play their games. I should give you another note. Yes, I am an ex-criminal, labeled a criminal enterprise on my own by certain judges and certain courts. I have been around and whatnot. I have 25 years experience in the criminal aspects, life, dealings, whatnot. from that experience, and I also am a scoop survivor. I am a proud native, and I'm also a survivor of the Alberta Child Protection Services, as I was heavily abused by them, which I still haven't received my payments from them, but that's a whole different story, and we're not going to get into that right now. What the fuck? Okay, so let's get that out of the way right now. My whole thing that I'm trying to do here is to share my experiences both in criminal, not in a positive, not in a negative way, to give you guys ideas, but not to get into the criminal life and whatnot, and how to get out of that life and whatnot, and how to deal with other things, real things, not bullshit about being whatever. This is about surviving whatever. I'm not here to brag about my 25 years criminal experience, the times I went to jail, and no, I've never been charged with any federal crimes and never did a lot of time. So I say that's a successful criminal life that I walked away from, that I'm drawing experience from. But I am here to advise and not sit here and whatnot and promote criminal activity and what shape, form, or what. I'm here to get people out of that lifestyle and help them out as much as possible. Give that advice to people that are trying to have loved ones, and if you don't know, you'll get it. So, with that said, the cops came in, they grabbed my dog, they accused me of, it was a false allegation, which turned out to be that the neighbors, as stated, some addicts, made up a false allegation stating, one, they seen me abusing my dog and my animals, the cats. There's another cat here I've always had too, but they failed to get her. So anyway, they seen me abusing my animals with cattle prods and bear spray. So the cops came in on August 18th, 2018, with their guns drawn, grabbed me at a park with two SWAT members, an undercover, and two regular cops that really had a hard on. Just the one cop had a hard on for me. She was here earlier, prior, trying to, pull her bullshit. It didn't work with me, and hence she was all over this arrest like a crackhead all over a welfare check. Okay. So they had when they arrested me, they had a search warrant. They were here specifically, and this is all documented, and this is part of the lawsuit that's pending, that I'm drawing from. When I was arrested, they served me with a search warrant. They left it here on my counter, and under the original PDA, sorry, it wasn't a promise to... Yeah, no, it wasn't a promise to appear. It was own recognizance, ORs. I was released on an OR. So, when they arrested me, they said specifically I was charged with animal abuse, a bunch of counts, with cattle prods and bear sprays, with a specific assault that I was accused of. Upon hearing that, I asked them, number one, what the fuck is a cattle prod? And number two, are you fucking serious? Because number one, cattle prods, from what I'm told, are used on cows, which are about 1,000 pounds. I explain this in my videos, whatever. They would leave distinctive marks on a dog and bruising and whatnot. The bear spray would come back on chemical because it's a chemical. They would find it. So they arrested me on specific animal abuse charges with a cattle prod and bear spray. They searched my house for those specific things. Now, under whatever law, Upon the search, if they do not find what they were looking for, they should have released me and dropped the charges. But they didn't. What the Edmonton police turned out to do is they still kept me, and they changed the charges from animal abuse well, they kept the original animal abuse, but instead of animal abuse with cattle prods and bear spray, all of a sudden, as you'll see in my past videos, I was accused of picking up my dog by the throat and chucking it more than 50 feet into a brick wall, which is physically impossible and technically impossible. I am a little bit of a science nut, so you'll have to forgive me. And whatever. So anyway, they said I did all this, and then upon release, because of I stayed anyway. So it's all in my back video, so I'm just giving you a quick rundown. So upon my release, I come home. That's when I found out they took the 2 cats that you were showed and the dog, but they didn't grab my other cat. I have 3 cats. They're all rescues. Let's get that out of the clear right now. My boy, rescued. The black one you see in here, old man, who's 21 now, a rescue. He was going to be euthanized. I kept him. We've been fucking buds for over 21 years now. I've had that guy. 22 for my boy, the tabby with the orange and whatever. He's been with me for 22 years. The other rescue that they didn't get, I had to nurse her back to health. She didn't trust me for a year because when I found her, she was half dead. Her back behind, hips were dislocated. She was frostbitten ears. She was not doing good. I brought her in. We relocated her hips. We dealt with the frostbitten, and then all I had to deal with was feed her and get her back up to health and whatnot. That took about a couple of weeks, but she was up, and then it took me a year before she actually came to me and let me touch her. She was heavily abused. I know that feeling, myself being heavily abused and whatnot. So, okay, we're back on story here. They took my animals on August 18th. On August 19th, I got released, where I found out that these charges were, they were actually serious and they were going to keep pulling it off. So back when I got released on August 19th, the afternoon, I was released on my own OR. And they were trying to, we'll get into whatever. So anyway, they released me. That's when I found out that they searched my home for bear spray and for cattle prod and whatnot. And they found nothing of it. I went to work. I've started pounding websites. I started hitting everything up. I know, because I can draw back from my criminal background, my lengthy 25-year background. So I knew they were in the wrong. So I started inquiring the professional standards up here. I should say up here. In Canada, they're called professional standards or whatnot. In the United States, they're internal affairs. Same thing. Same bullshit, even regardless if you're north or south. I put a complaint on August 19th saying the charges were bogus. They were bogus. My first court appearance, which was on the Wednesday of that when they released me, they wanted to make a deal. I plead guilty right then and there, and I'll get whatever. I denied whatever. I said no. They said, well, you need a lawyer and enter a plea, because I was saying, usually you set up your plea and you're guilty and whatnot. I was already stating not guilty, and I want a trial immediately. I want to expedite my whole thing as fast as possible. Most of the times when you're guilty, you try to remand it, because on your first appearance, it only 72 hours after you get released, and they're betting that you need a lawyer. So your first appearance, 99.9% of the chance the convict is going to remand the charge for another date so he can get a lawyer to represent him. I did not do that. On my first appearance, 72 hours upon release, I was already putting a not guilty plea in and asking for a expedited trial as soon as possible to get my pets back. They obliged to that. They said your pre-trial will be on August 1st from that whatever. I agreed to that. During that August 1st period, you'll see the videos on my YouTube. They were the first videos on there because I wanted to get the evidence fresh and get everything out there. And I don't have any family, and I keep no friends because my past friends, some of them were criminals and they weren't the best influence and whatnot. So I just cut everybody off, kind of thing. Another story that has to deal with whatever. Excuse me. Okay. So on the first pre-trial, it was the Edmonton police that came back and said, no, we need to push the pre-trial back farther. They wanted a bunch of months because whatever. I denied them and stood up and I said, no, I am ready to go today. I have my evidence here already. Or what I thought was good enough evidence. I did not have a disclosure, which you ask for, and whatnot. But I was already, and that's why they wanted to push it back, because they didn't give me my disclosure in time, and they weren't giving me my disclosure. So they wanted to push it back. I said, I don't need the disclosure. Let's just do this right now, kind of thing. I want the pretrial because I knew I was innocent, and I wanted to push this. They pushed it back to, I compromised to August 31st. I got pissed off. I walked off. They said August 31st. I just okay, whatever. I'm done. I'm gone. I walked out. I already knew that I was not guilty. At that first pre-trial, though, they changed the charges right there. They said, no, he's not here for animal abuse for the cattle prods and the bear spray. He's here for animal abuse for picking up a dog and throwing it more than 50 feet into a brick wall. That's their statements they got, and whatever. I foiled everything. It turns out, in their own statements, they might have fudged a bit. They lied a lot. The arresting cop, the one I mentioned, ended up putting in the file that I'm a quote cop hater, and I'm having a personal issue with that due to the fact that the Edmonton police is extremely racist. That's on my file now that I'm a cop hater. That's going to cause me issues and could get me killed. That is a target on my back put on by a cop for other cops to fucking get me. When they put that personal shit and lies on your fucking file, they know why they're doing it. They're hoping that another cop will run into that fucking whatever, and they'll jump all over and act on that. So I'm having that's one part of my lawsuit right there, is how she ended up putting I'm a cop hater on my file and whatnot. With that said, I am neither a cop hater or I'm definitely not a cop fucking whatever sympathizer. We'll get into that at a later date. But in my 25 years, I have met some good, respectful cops that earn their badge and respect the badge they wore or still are wearing. They went out and honored that badge by their actions and by being good cops. Police, sorry. But in my 25 years experience, a once proud whatever that had its issues is now full of what I call TV cops. As prior, when I started in the crime business, it was TV criminals that were rampant. Everybody wanted to be a fucking gangster, and all this other shit and fucking whatnot. So they ran out, and there was more popcorn pimps, TV fucking gangsters, TV fucking punks, fucking rotting in jail and taking up space in jail and whatnot and doing all this other shit. Now I find it's the reverse. There's a lot more TV cops where a bunch of these cops all of a sudden watch cops and fucking, you know, and they're racist, they're ignorant, and the good cops that they're there are now far and in between. They're fucking unicorns. So I have no issues with cops. If they do their job, I know what my job back in the day was. I was a criminal. My job was not to get arrested. Their job was to arrest me. Simple. This is a business. It is not personal. You are not to be personal. And the best thing I've ever heard a cop say is, he goes, it's like going to the moon. We go to the moon for 12 hours a day and we come home and we leave that shit on the moon and we deal with our personal lives, fucking whatever. Best fucking thing I've ever heard from a fucking cop. And that was an Edmonton cop that said that. So yes. Sorry, police. I keep fucking, my bad. So she ended up putting those lies on her file in order to make, she lied. Flat out, she fucking lied. This cop. I used that. I didn't get the FOIP. I FOIP'd it. I didn't get the papers until after the 31st. But anyway, that's another story. Oh shit, I never noticed that. Another issue I've had is, while we're going through this, they started showing up my place. You know, all of a sudden they were fucking there. They were parked out in front of my place. I have a file with them in it with pictures. They were trying to intimidate me and whatnot. During waiting for the pre-trial, and that was the first one on October 1st or whatever, and then when we pushed it back to Halloween, we went to court and the prosecutor withdrew the charges. That's when I got up. I had this legal aid lawyer because they forced it upon me, and they asked me, the judge, because I complained about the other judge too. He was being racist and whatnot because of his whatever. They put a new judge in there. She asked if I should have a court order to have the pets returned. I said yes. The legal aid lawyer said no, it's just going to work out. What you guys seen and what started all this was the return of my pets on Halloween, October 31st, 2018. They were taken, put in cages for 2 months, and it took me 2 months to fight the law, to fight the Edmonton police on a charge that was falsified, that should have never been accepted, but yet they took 2 months plus investigation and they put it on the taxpayer's dime. And then they withheld evidence, because when I got the FOIP reports back, I also asked for the veterinarian reports from the Humane Society, the Edmonton bylaw officers, who also make an appearance in one of my later April 21st videos, actually, to be precise. And that was when the cops came here to harass me about, lo and behold, they accused me of animal abuse again. Go figure. So, they returned my animals on October 31st, 2018, after taking them for 2 months. They jacked me around, fucked me up for my fucking papers, for my FOIP papers, and whatnot. So if you want to call me a dick and all these other crap things for fighting to get my animals back, calling me an animal abuser, you have to understand, my cats who've been with me for over 20 years are all rescues. I have lived off of less than $15 and used to eat out of food banks just to keep them in over a roof over their head and have food for them and their cat litter. Other people would dump them, leave them, whatnot. Hence, the black cat was left prior before I got him too, and they were gonna put him down. I'm loyal to my pets. I put their needs before mine. And it's insulting that you don't know me, but yet you say I'm an animal abuser. So I apologize to you people because something obviously must have bothered you back in your background where you think you have to judge me to make yourself feel better. And if that helps you, go for it. And I apologize for, like I said, to the other people that I may have overreacted to, or I put a reply that was meant for somebody else to you, and I humbly apologize for that. And I also humbly apologize for people that felt left hanging. I thought that, if somebody jumped into one of my whatever streams, whatever you call them, I'm new to this. I don't do this. Like I said, being a 25-year criminal, I lived in the shadows. So this is all new to me, to be sharing my experience in order to help people out there not make the same mistakes as I did and learn from my mistakes. And if I can help you and advise you, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not here to glorify everything I've done. I'm just here to try to help. And I know there's not many of you or whatever, but there are people out there like the shit that I went through or gone through or stupidly done on my own that don't or shouldn't or don't need to go down and make that same path to my mistakes and issues and whatnot. So to them, I reach out to them, to all the outcasts. Hit me up if you need me, man. I'm here for you. I know where you've been. To the ones that I have inadvertently insulted, I apologize, humbly apologize. And to the rest of the whatever that caused me to overreact to these people, well, in the long run, I shouldn't be pissed off because you're watching, aren't you? Have a good night. And take it easy.